Good evening and welcome to Omnibroslive. I am Omnidog from Omnidog's Vault on YouTube. Welcoming all of you out there to Omnibroslive, where tonight we're going to talk about Free Comic Book Day 2019 and Endgame. That's right, not Hellboy, like I said, Endgame. And with us tonight, we have from A Week in Geekdom, Geo. How's it going, buddy?
I am doing well. They called me Snot Boy recently, but I'm doing well. A little sick, a little under the weather, but I really want to talk some Endgame stuff with everybody in the chat and with all of you guys as well.
You sound awful.
Yay.
And for the first time in a long time on a Thursday, we have the Omnibus Collector himself, Ryley Mo. Ryley, how's it going, buddy?
It's going good, man. I'm glad to finally be back to normalcy, working normal hours instead of until midnight.
Yeah.
So it's nice. It's nice to finally be back in the saddle, as it were, and not popping up for the last 30 minutes of a show.
Well, it's great to have you back. And we're all happy to have you here. And we're always happy to have IST here. That's In Stock Trades, where you can get your collected editions up to 50% off. Loyalty discounts add 2% to that. Every quarter, there's an Omnibros discount code. If you're in the United States and order $50 or more worth of books, you get free shipping. Don't ask me how they do it, but they do it. Fabulous customer service, fabulous packaging. That's InStockTrades.com. They're our sponsors. Yes. We love them. So, let's see. We're going to talk first about Free Comic Book Day, which is this Saturday, the day after tomorrow, which I have never participated in at my local comic book store because, I'm not exaggerating, Third Eye Comics in Annapolis gets 8,000 people. That is not as an exaggeration. They get 8,000 people. Some of you know my aversion to crowds. I hate crowds, and that is just not my thing. Which is too bad because we've been looking over this list, and there's actually some cool stuff to be had. Let's see, back in 2015, I've never been able to find this comic book store again. It's like from the Twilight Zone. It existed, and I haven't been able to find it again. It's where I found, I went there, and it was Free Comic Book Day, and it said 30% off all graphic novels and hardcovers and stuff. And I looked, and in their like glass case of treasures was like back then Tomb of Dracula 1 was out of print. It was $150. Silver Surfer was $150. And Punisher by Garth Ennis was $150. I got them for 30% off. Which brought
so you got them for cover price.
So basically. I got them for cover price. And I had the guy take them out of the case, and this was not the store manager. This was some underling. It was like 3 p.m. They had about 4 comics out for Free Comic Book Day, and I said, I bet these comics are not supposed to be 30% off. So I better get these and get the fuck out of here. So I bought those, and I zipped out of there, and I've never been able to find that comic store again. It was like, it was from Out of the Simpsons and the Monkey's Paw. So yeah, the Monkey's Paw. So Free Comic Book Day. Let me see if I can figure out how to share my screen, and we'll talk about. Okay, wait. Let me get Free Comic Book Day up. Doink. Okay.
So I'm sure everyone that's watching our show knows what Free Comic Book Day is, but when I first started getting into comics, I thought, like, you just go in there and take books? Like, is that how this works? Like, what does this mean? Should I be waiting for this day all year and just go in there and get all my stuff at the same time? And then like I found out like, no, it's just these little one shots and often like rinky dink little reprints and partial stories and stuff. I was like, ah, crap. So it wound up being really underwhelming for me, but they did have a sale of like, you know, it was like half off of back issues and 20% off of collections. Whoa.
What the hell? Obviously, I'm not doing this right.
Crisis on Infinite Jest.
Okay, wait a minute.
So yeah, that was pretty funny. But yeah, so if there's anyone out there who doesn't know, Free Comic Book Day is not a day where you can just go into your shop and take a copy of whatever omnibus you feel like for free. It is a day where there are special magazines put out, usually little one-shot issues. Sometimes publishers use them to give a free like sample of an upcoming story arc. Like an event that's coming up or a big storyline in a popular book, just to kind of get readers in the door. The idea being, you know, hopefully to get new people who are not already reading those books interested and wanting to pick those things up. And a lot of shops do a lot of sales and stuff to kind of bring more people in as well during that time.
I'm not doing this right. I need Omar. I maximized the wrong screen and now I can't get to my screen.
Uh-oh.
Oh, brother. Let's see. How do I minimize this screen?
You got this. Don't worry about it.
Do y'all remember, I don't remember if it was 2 years ago or something, there was like a Mouse Guard Free Comic Book Day that like hardcover.
I don't remember that.
It was like an actual hardcover book. It was a few years back because I think it was when I was still living in Houston. But it was a legit like full hardcover story. I don't know if it was a new story or an old story or what, but it was it was a hardcover and it was extremely limited, so they only had like a few copies at any place at any given location.
Jess, what a lame-o. I thought I knew how to do this.
I've got the like website up at least so I can look at it, but I don't know how to share my screen.
Well, I thought I knew how to share my screen. I can't even get back to the chat.
Dang, man.
We just lost like 10 points.
What did you do?
What have I done to myself?
All our street cred just went down the hill.
I can't even see the chat now. Oh, wait a sec. Okay, wait. Okay. Okay. Wait. Okay, let me maximize this. Okay, there's that. Now, I maximized. Okay, wait. Okay. Wait, okay, I almost got it. Okay, wait. Now, let's see. If I hit screen share, screen share, your entire screen. I hit me, you, your entire screen. Then
This is nerve-wracking.
Go to this and maximize that. How's that look?
It looks like you.
Me?
Yeah, I can just see you.
But I hit my entire screen. Oh, wait, share.
There, oh, no, Infinite Jest. I think you need to do that, but yeah, there you go.
How's that?
Yes, it worked.
Does it say Free Comic Book Day?
Yes.
Woohoo!
And just click
Oh,
on
it
yours.
says Free Comic Book Day 2018. No, I'm just kidding.
No, and I just
Click it on yours so it stays on yours and doesn't move when we talk.
I didn't do that?
Just do that on the Hangout. I think it's no, never mind.
Is it set on me or is it not set on me?
If I talk, is it gonna move? It keeps moving.
Okay, wait.
So just go onto the Hangout and click on.
It is set on
you.
me.
Okay.
yeah, we can see it moving, but the audience can't. It's just, for the chat, it stays on Jeff.
Yeah, the chat is set on me. Okay, is it up now for me?
Yeah.
Okay. Riverdale. You see Riverdale?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So there's Riverdale, the first Free Comic Book Day. Buffy by Greg Pak. Here's the first interesting thing, I think. Dark Horse, Stranger Things, and Black Hammer. Tales from Two Diverse Worlds. Blubbity blubbity blah, Stranger Things. Okay. But then in the world of the Eisner Award-winning Black Hammer series, Madame Dragonfly takes the reader on an EC-style tour through her mysterious cabin of horrors to witness two groups of brand new Black Hammer heroes from the past.
That sounds great.
So that is really cool. A Black Hammer story.
Mm-hmm.
And here's a hardcover. I believe this is a hardcover, a Catwoman tale.
Yep.
Here is a TMNT book for those of you who are into TMNT.
So that's like basically leading into their current big event, Casualty of Wars, whatever it's called. So yeah, on there it says they're leading into issue 100 of that series. And this is supposed to just hype that little event storyline up.
Here's the one I'm really excited about. I wish I could go just to get this. This is a special Deadly Class one-shot.
That's pretty cool that they're doing a full one-shot story.
Yeah, I really think this is cool. I wish I could go to Third Eye and get this for myself. Because not all comic stores take part in this because these things cost the comic book store money. They got to buy these things and then give them out for free. I don't know what it costs them, but it costs them money. And so not all comic book stores take part in it. And so I really wish I could get this. Mightiest Heroes Avengers.
So that one has two stories, one by Jason Aaron and another by Jerry Dugan. The Jerry Dugan one is around the Savage Avengers, which is the one that stars Conan as part of the series. And then I'm guessing the Jason Aaron one is like some sort of coda attached to his Avengers title. Just probably a sort of like catch-up storyline that's going to lead into whatever they're working on next.
Whoa, Blade's an Avenger?
They had a recent storyline that dealt with like a bunch of the vampire characters coming back, and so they had Blade join in to fight against them.
Cool. Doctor Who. Okay.
That's the one for Jess right there, Descendants.
Sure. Here's one for David Codd, Valiant Entertainment.
Bloodshot, and also a story with Rye by both Tim Seeley and Dan Abnett. So there's some good talent behind that issue.
And Bloodshot's getting a movie, so that's probably why they're marketing that.
Oh, that's right. I completely forgot about that.
Oh, before Sony's live-action Bloodshot blockbuster film.
Yep. Vin Diesel.
Nice. Donny Cates. Interceptor.
Got to read that one too.
bring you a neon-drenched, blood-soaked, all-out vampire warfare. What's not to like about that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here's one for the two of you.
All right.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Oh, you don't think so? You've already got your tickets for Detective Pikachu.
Yeah, but not for Pokemon I Choose You and Pokemon Adventures. I already have all the Pokemon Adventures books.
Oh, all right.
I don't need a one shot. I already know what happens.
Okay. Animosity. I love Marguerite Bennett's book, Animosity.
So I think that brings us into the silver comics. So these, the last ones are gold level, so I think that means they get less copies of those. And these are the silver.
You can only get like one.
Oh, and here's a Goon book. Albatross, a Goon book. That sounds cool. I have no idea who Grumble is, but the Goon's cool. Casper. Ooh, Lady Mechanica. Lumberjanes.
Mm-hmm. Bunch of passes.
So the silver books are just not as exciting.
Yep.
I think there's a Spider-Man one though.
Bob's Burgers. I like the show. Vampirilla. I love Vampirilla. Christopher Priest writes this. Here's everybody's favorite Zagor the Alien.
Yeah, sure.
Ooh, my favorite thing is monsters. What's going on here?
The new story.
An all-new 16-page monster story exclusive to Free Comic Book Day. Oh my gosh, I wish I could get this. Features 2 other short stories never before collected. Oh, I wish I could get this. This looks great. Our favorite thing is monsters. Well, that would be something. That is something I think is cool. Very cool. Mark Waid book for humanoids.
I think I was reading that, and it's something about like a humanoids connected universe that's starting up, like a superhero universe.
Yay. Manga. Not manga.
That's the first issue of Spawn reprinted, just with a new cover.
The film adaptation directed by Todd McFarlane himself. Huh. Okay, let's go on to what I really
Jamie
want.
Foxx.
This Sheets story. I could find some stuff, man. I would love this book.
Yeah. This Free Comic Book Day is just for you, Jess.
It really
There's a lot
is.
of stuff.
Maybe they'll have like a whole like pack of the Free Comic Book Day comics that you can get on eBay or something, and you can just get one of each.
Yeah,
just so
I mean,
you don't have to force yourself into a public crowd.
Yeah. Yeah. Life is better just with all my doors locked, hiding in my lazy boy.
Hey,
So
remember you've got a men's meeting at the Serenity Club.
Oh yeah, Saturday. That's when I leave the house. But I love
that
Sheets.
Spider-Man. That Spider-Man.
Okay.
It's so
Tell
Tom
me.
Taylor, who's writing the current Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, Saladin Ahmed, who's writing Miles Morales, and Donny Cates, who's writing Venom. And it's a one-shot story that looks like it's going to be tying into the upcoming Absolute Carnage storyline. So I'm pretty excited about that as a pretty big fan of Spider-Man and a fan of like all the symbiote stuff because I grew up in the 90s and that was all the craze back then. Like, this is something really cool to me. So I'm excited about that, that little one shot.
The Tick.
New stories.
New stories. Ghost Hog. Lucy and Andy Neanderthal. Treasury of British Comics. Wow. Pass.
The Dark Age. Midnight Sky.
Yeah, that's for Omar.
Street Fighter.
Yep.
It's even got art by someone named Omar.
Omar. Here's My Hero Academia for you guys.
And The Promised Neverland.
Nice. Those are two hot titles.
And the Overstreet Guide to Collecting, which is out of date the minute it's printed. Okay, so there's Free Comic Book Day. There's at least 3 or 4 solid titles that I would totally be happy to get into.
You know, I'm surprised is there's not really a big DC book. There's this like Dear Justice League special, but there's not.
Oh yeah.
Did they just like peace out this year?
You only have that one. It looks pretty cute, but yeah, there's no like big canon book.
Yeah, I'd like to grab if I win, which I'm not going to because I'm working, but I'd like to grab that Avengers, probably that Stranger Things for the Black Hammer stuff, Deadly Class, TMNT Interceptor, that Donny Cates thing, and then from the silver, definitely the Spider-Man. I still haven't read My Favorite Thing is Monsters, but I have it in a box somewhere in storage, so I'd probably grab that anyway.
I would definitely grab that.
There are others that I'd probably enjoy, but I just leave behind for the people who really want them. But yeah, so there's some solid picks. There's been years that definitely are not nearly this solid.
Yeah, there was at least 4 books I was interested in, which is about 4 more than before. Especially that Deadly Class one, and My Favorite Thing is Monsters, and the Black Hammer one.
There's an eBay listing for 53 comics for Free Comic Book Day for $50. So
I could get them all for $50.
Yeah, 50. You get 53 comics for Free Comic Book Day.
It's probably all the same Casper comic.
I love the Simpsons episode where the comic book day one, the comic book convention one, where they noticed that Richie Rich and Casper looked the same, and
oh no,
I forget what the line was, but it was something like maybe he hung himself because his life was too shallow and he became Casper, and Marge was in the front seat and she was like, "Kids, can you lighten up a little back there?" I can't remember what the exact line was, but it was great.
So that's Free Comic Book Day. Hopefully, if anything, that just gives people an idea of what they might want to pop in for. It's always a fun day, I think, to have kids store because they can get the free things, and usually there's other stuff going on too. They usually have, at least at my shops, they have like posters and stuff, some giveaways, raffles, prizes, all that stuff. They'd make a whole event out of it.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
now Endgame.
Warning. Spoilers will be had here.
I mean, we're a week after release. I think most people that watch our stuff probably have seen it, so it's not. Yeah, I don't feel too bad about talking spoilers for the rest of the show.
Yeah, I'm gonna sign into chat. I don't want to sign into chat. One of you guys should probably post that spoilers are now occurring.
I got
Let me
it.
see if I can get in there.
Yeah, Scott LaFleche, time to go, because we're spoiling the heck out of it. We're talking about it from beginning to end.
All 3 hours. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna go on for 6 hours, just talking about Endgame.
I'll start.
Yeah.
Here's my review. I fucking loved that movie. End of my review.
They should put that on the Blu-ray box.
Yeah.
Like the little asterisk. Yeah.
There was nothing wrong with that movie at all. It dotted all the I's, crossed all the T's. I loved. I first of all, I didn't even know 3 hours had passed. It was so
Seriously.
interesting. It hooked me from the very beginning. There was not a mischaracterization of any character at all. Every character was perfectly written. The action was right where it needed to be, when it needed to be. I couldn't find. First of all, I never look for any controversy, so I don't tend to find controversy. I'm not one of these guys to go on YouTube and say, I didn't believe the CGI in the third part of Act 2 or whatever. I'm not that guy. So, I mean, I go to movies to be entertained, and I'm not going to be picking apart a movie. I'm not a movie critic. I guess you can consider me an amateur book critic, because on my YouTube channel, I review books. So I'm an amateur book critic, but I do not go to movies to look for weak points. I want to be entertained. I want to get lost in the movie. I suspend my disbelief. I just believe, and I'm into it. So it doesn't bother me that some rat runs across the van's controls and sets Ant-Man free. I mean, I'm a guy that believes a radioactive spider bit some kid and gave him spider powers. How is that any different than believing a rat can set Ant-Man free? There's no difference. I mean, it's just all wild bunch of goofy tales. Some chick, some Valkyrie's riding in on a winged horse, and I'm not supposed to believe a rat can set Ant-Man free? What the hell?
Did people have issues with that?
I think somebody in the Omnibros chat did. It's just wild coincidence. What the heck? We're not going to have a movie without it. So I didn't have a problem with anything. I had no problem with time travel. I don't have any problem with that. As I say, you know, you've got you've got all these crazy superheroes. How am I supposed to have a problem with time travel? You either got to suspend your disbelief or you don't. And I just have zero problem believing anything. It's supposed to be entertainment. So I totally dug all of it. And the way they I lost my train of thought, but it doesn't really matter because there's so many things I can touch on in that movie, because there were 45 different things that happened in that movie that was awesome. The way they brought Thanos back into it after they whacked his head off, the way they brought him back into it, I thought was remarkable. By having Nebula's vision fritz out and show past Thanos, future Nebula's vision as she's plotting to, try and get the whatever gem. Now I can't remember what gem it was. As what was it?
Power Cell.
Power Cell. Okay. What was it?
The Power Stone?
Power Stone. Okay. So I thought that was genius. That's how that he got a vision of her in the future. So I just thought that was brilliant. They got a vision of her in the future, so they figured out how to time travel themselves. and they time traveled to the present and brought hell unleashed. And I'm jumping all over the place because there's so much going on, and I should have taken it from the very beginning, when the best part to me was they're sitting there in the very beginning, dealing with their loss, wondering how they're going to solve it. They find Thanos, realize they can't solve it, and then it says 5 years later. Earth has moved on for 5 years without half its population of everything, including birds and wildlife. And it's 5 years later, and Ant-Man wakes up and just goes, "Hey, kid, what the heck's going on?" And the kid just continues pedaling his bicycle. And Black Widow's in the headquarters and is dealing with pretty much nothing, eating a peanut butter sandwich, and I just thought that was amazing. That it was 5 years later. That was a beautiful touch that they said, this thing is real. 5 years later, Iron Man is married and has a kid, and people have moved on, but these guys haven't moved on. They're still trying to figure it out while the rest of the world has moved on.
I thought a lot of movie reviewers were criticizing those first 15, 20 minutes because it dragged. I thought you needed those 15 to 20 minutes of slow-paced dialogue to make it a very memorable, impactful moment because of that, because it is a traumatic event for the whole universe. And I thought it was really well done. I enjoy those slow moments, that slow burn with all those characters. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I agree. You had to have that to make, and you're right, the universe, I apologize, not just Earth. All we're shown is Earth. But I thought it was really remarkable that set up the whole movie to show the true sense of loss, those heroes, because they accepted it as personal failure, and it showed the impact on them.
Yeah, and like the movie goes into, it's a little subtle, maybe, but it goes into the whole thing with PTSD. These are characters that are supposed to be heroes. They're supposed to save the day. They failed, and like, what do we do now? Do we move on? Do we stick around and reminisce? Do we try and fix it? And all these moral dilemmas, I thought was really interesting. I really love the conversation between Captain America and Black Widow, where he's basically talking about that, about accepting what's happened and moving on, but at the same time trying to fix things. All that conversation I thought was really good.
He almost touches on, like, because he said, "I saw a pot of whales because there's less ships, so there's less pollution," and she stops him, like, "Don't try and go and see the positive of half of population being wiped out." And he stops himself and he's like, "Yeah, sorry, it's not. I know it's not positive." Because of course, yeah, it's just a force of habit of Cap, because of course he's the one who's going to be the most capable, I guess, of coping. Just his character is always the one filled with hope and positivity. So he's going to be the one that figures how to deal with this thing better than the others. And of course, like you were saying, it's definitely a post-traumatic stress type thing, and the different ways that people cope with trauma. And you have like Thor, who turns to substance and becomes an alcoholic. And, they play it off as a comedic thing, but there's, really heavy moments in there as well. And, because he blames himself for not going for the head the first time around.
Mm-hmm.
And then, Tony, thankfully, they don't make him fall back onto, at least not that we see, onto his alcoholism, but he moves on and finds a life and a family. And that's the whole thing with him, telling Steve, you need to find a life. Like, and that's him at the end. Like, I thought I'd try that life that Tony kept telling me about. So there was, I don't see. I saw at least one person somewhere saying something about like the first 15 minutes was boring, but after that it was great. But I'm like, that first 15 minutes or whatever before it time jumps 5 years later was like, it was great to me. Like I really enjoyed that. And you just, because I wasn't expecting for them to just decapitate Thanos. I wasn't expecting for Thanos to not have the stones. I wasn't expecting for any of that. I was expecting for them to go and face off against him, like having the stones in the present, and all that stuff. And I knew that there was rumors of like the time travel plot, but I didn't really pay attention to that. So I was thinking it was going to be more of a straightforward, just like, let's get our army together. Whoever we have left, we'll figure out some way to beat him. We'll go find him, and then we'll have a battle like in the garden or whatever place that he wishes to go to, maybe find some other sort of cosmic thing to help them, blah, 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 blah. But it went into a completely different direction than I was thinking it would. And especially that 5 years later thing. I remember when we saw it in the theater that first time, people were audibly like, what?
Well, they built it up like 5, and then there's like a kind of an almost long pause because you're like, weeks, months,
and then it's like
days,
5 years
and you're
later.
like, oh shit, it's not like a quick fix. Like it really happened.
Yeah.
And it stayed happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It done fucked everyone. But yeah, dude, I really loved the movie too, overall, just to say as a whole. I really loved it. Because I felt like what it really did was it was a reward for the fans of this franchise for sticking around for 11 years. Damn,
Or Ragnarok.
she didn't like Ragnarok. I know Jess is a fan. I'm a fan. She didn't like it, but that's neither here nor there. But for fans to stick around from the beginning, we watched everyone grow. We watched people evolve through time, and we watched these storylines coalesce and become something big. And this was the reward, to see not only how these characters beat the bad guy, because you know that at the end of the day, that's what they're gonna do. It's very few and far between that they're not going to come out on top, but also how a lot of these characters find their end to their story, or the end to at least this big chapter of their story, and find their peace. And it's, especially when you've grown with these characters and I was, I guess 18 when, or not even, I don't think I was 18 yet when the first Iron Man movie came out. And so I was like just fresh out of high school, and now here I am, 5 years married, getting into our second house. Like this, it's like a whole nother life that I'm in. And
Generation.
Yeah, it's a whole generation. You have kids, like her nephew is 11 and he grew up watching these movies. So this is like that kind of thank you note to these people who have stuck with it and who have watched it from the beginning. And like, it just felt meaningful. It felt like it had some purpose behind it.
Yeah, exactly. It was the perfect ending to a long, and we need to remember that it was an almost forgotten character with a washed up actor who they were taking a chance on back in 2008. I'm not going to say
a damn about Iron Man at that time.
Yeah, I was like on a probably B or C grade superhero.
For people who are not into comics at all, Iron Man really wasn't a name at all.
They were really taking a chance on Robert Downey Jr. because he was considered out of the game, washed up, problems with drugs and crazy wacky behavior and stuff, and he remade himself and owned that role and remade himself, redid it, put the flesh and bones and steel or titanium or vibranium, whatever he's made out of, onto Iron Man. And that's why his death was so meaningful, because he's the one that breathed life into the whole thing.
And directed by Jon Favreau.
Who was awesome.
Of all people, Jon Favreau, who before that was what, like Swingers or
Well, Swingers was a great movie though.
Yeah, but it's not
Iron Man.
action movie. Like, it's not the same type of movie at all.
Right.
And all of a sudden he's the one helming the film that offsets this whole thing. And then we get all these other names involved. We get, you know, Joss Whedon making films, and we have these films by the Russos who before this had done Community. And it's just so bizarre to see these people who work on these movies and who act in these movies who really like take on these new roles. And it's really like taught me to not follow my expectations a lot of times. You know, I wouldn't have expected the Winter Soldier out of some guys who directed some episodes of Community.
That's a good point.
There's no way I would ever have expected that. But it brought, and it also, on top of Iron Man, it brought Thor and Captain America to the front line of, you know, people's sight when they think about Marvel's heroes. Because before this, it was just, you know, X-Men and Spider-Man. And the Avengers never had that public image that those characters did. They never got as big, especially not for our generation. Like, we had the cartoon for Iron Man that was, you know, got pretty popular when I was a kid. We had, you know, different cartoons with these other characters and stuff, but these guys were not, the big three were not really the big three for popular culture. It really put those out there to where people like, you know, Megan cares now about Captain America's beard and Thor's abs, and the fact that neither of them were in this movie.
The real loss from Thanos snap.
Yeah, I really liked it. I know you liked it quite a bit as well. I compared it, though, as a film on its own. I compared it to, I don't know if this is going to sound weird, but to Kill Bill Volume 2, because it's a movie that you really shouldn't take on its own. But when taken in the context with everything else, it's great. Because I wouldn't tell someone like, oh yeah, you haven't seen any Marvel movie, go watch Endgame, because they go in there and nothing would mean anything. It's like, I wouldn't tell someone to go watch Kill Bill Volume 2 because you don't have that same, you know, appreciation of what's going on from watching the first part of it. So it's not good to take these movies into context as themselves. Like, yeah, it's a solid film, but emotionally it doesn't have the same value as if you were to have taken it in the context of everything else that it belongs with.
Yeah, in my I saw it at the Alamo, where they have a, you know, strict policy against anybody talking, anybody, you know, you call a manager as soon as anybody says anything. And
So
I know it's great, but as soon as the bubbles started to appear and Black Panther walks out, almost everybody started to cheer, and then more heroes came and more heroes came. Everybody started to cheer, and I didn't cheer because I'm just not like that. But I mean, the hairs on my arms stood up, and they cheered. But I got swept up with it, and I certainly wasn't going to complain because I was cheering, you know, inside. I was like, yes, and the way just Black Panther just swaggered out. With his main women and just looking so boss and under control and just like, yeah, this is no problem. I'm back. And it was just so perfectly done. And Spider-Man was like, oh, Mr. Stark, you're not going to believe this. I was with Doctor Strange and all these people and all blah, blah, blah.
It was the audience during like that entire final fight thing was like, it was like being at a sporting event. It was like being at a
We got lucky because my brother, they saw it the same night we did, but a later showtime, and they said that their theater was like dead fish. No reactions to anything.
Aw.
Ours was, yeah,
It
very
was
ruckus,
lit, man. It was like everyone. The moment when you see the hammer hit and then come back and Steve grabs it, like it was just you would have thought. I don't even know. Like it was, you would have thought Captain America picked up Mjolnir. That's what you would have thought happened. Like it was just insane. Everyone exploded with excitement.
You would have thought that the Cowboys had just won the Super Bowl.
We're in Dallas. I forgot we are in Dallas. Yeah, it was insane. People were like screaming, like, "Oh my god! Oh my god!"
I had not read that in the comics, so I was not prepared for that. So it was a complete surprise to me when Cap picked up Mjolnir. I was just like, whoa, he can do that? That is awesome. And I just thought that was just so bitching when he picked up the hammer and it came back to him. Like, this is a whole new ball game. And
that one, like right before it happened, like right when Thanos is pushing Stormbreaker into Thor's chest.
Yeah.
I lean over to Megan and I'm like, Cap's about to get Mjolnir. And like, because I don't think you saw anything yet, but he had dropped it. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, this is about to happen. Like, because I was like, all of a sudden the scene from Age of Ultron flashed in my mind, and I was like, this payoff is about to happen. And it was so much better than I could have asked that to be. And not only does he wield Mjolnir, but he does it like he's been practicing.
Yeah.
Number one. And number two, he brings the thunder down and freaking like put Thanos into a seizure.
Yeah.
Thanos sitting there like buzzing from the thunder. It was a great scene. And everyone, like you said, when the portals were opening up, everyone was going crazy during that. When Black Panther and Shuri and what's Denai Gurira's character name? Okoye walks through as well, and it was just like one thing after the other, and cheer. It was just like constant roar of like people clapping and cheering. And I know that like a lot of people are like, this is so dumb because like they're not gonna hear you, but it's like you can't help but be so excited sometimes. And I'm not that type. Like I didn't make a lot of noise either. Like I didn't clap, I didn't whoop and stuff, but I could feel it inside of me. And like being part of an audience that was like that and not just part of an audience that is sitting there quiet, it really makes you feel like part of something. It makes you feel like you're part of. It's the same joy that people have going to sporting events, is because you feel like you're part of something. You feel when they make that goal, or they
to not be cheesy, but you're witnessing history too. Like this.
Yeah, they beat Thanos.
I mean, this entire universe of films, even this last movie, like completely shattered box office records. So these people have been waiting 12 years for this event that has never been done in cinematic history. So it's like a lot of feelings happening at once.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, that look, I can't get over the look on Chadwick Boseman's face. It was just so like, I don't know. It was like the perfect look when he came swaggering out. It was like, as if you expected me to not come back. Here I am. I'm right here.
Yeah,
of course I'm back.
I literally saw all those heroes coming through the portals. I'm like, finally, we can have sequels for these guys. Thank you.
Yeah. Well,
and yeah, Cap says Avengers Assemble. For the first time in a long time, I wept. I'm like, finally. I've been waiting for that since day one, to hear that famous catchphrase. It was glorious.
Yeah, and I'm not ashamed at all to say that tears came down my cheek at a rapid pace at Iron Man's and when he was with Pepper at that final little scene when he's dying. And then it was really the setup was really important because Peter's right there, because Peter's looking up to him as a father figure, and Iron Man doesn't want to say, "Get away, kid. These are my dying moments." He's just not saying anything, because Peter's right there, and it's an important scene because Peter's like pouring his heart out and everything, but Iron Man doesn't really have the words for Peter until, you know, his wife shows up, and then they have that moment, you know, where it's okay, you can rest now, it's okay. And that's when the teardrops started for me. You know, he saved the universe.
Yeah.
I am going to be completely honest here. I did not cry at all, and because that was the one spoiler I read by accident on Facebook, so I already knew what was going to happen. It was still sad, but I'm like, yep, I kind of figured that was going to happen anyways, because the story, you know, the whole arc of the Infinity Saga is about Iron Man. At the end of the day, he started everything,
Right?
and Doctor Strange. He said, if I tell you how it ends, it's not going to happen.
Right.
I'm like, yeah, that's your death wish right there. Got it.
Well, that was the one thing that was spoiled for me. I knew he was going to die, but I didn't know how, because that was the one thing that was spoiled on the Facebook page that I had to delete and ban the member for. So I knew he was going to die, but I didn't know how. So it was still a surprise to me how it happened. So it wasn't ruined for me completely. And then, you know, there was plenty of other things that happened. How Cap let himself stay back in time and age with Peggy,
handing over the shield to Sam.
Handing over the shield to Sam. That was a really moving thing. They got an actor that looked just like Chris Evans as an 80-year-old man, whatever. I thought that was a really moving scene, that he chose to live out his life as he always wanted to. He always felt out of time here. And so I thought that was really a well done scene. I thought that was remarkable. I didn't have a problem with Bucky not getting the shield. You know, he was good, then he was programmed to do bad, then he got deprogrammed, so who knows what he's going to be next. I felt Sam was the obvious choice, so I didn't have a problem with that.
It seems like this version of Bucky doesn't, because I thought about it and I was like, he doesn't seem as obvious of a choice because it doesn't seem like that's what he wants.
Right.
Like Sam doesn't think that he deserves it. That's the difference. Like Bucky doesn't, it's not that he doesn't think he would deserve it, but he wouldn't want to have that role. And I think that he feels kind of done with that whole thing, because it was like after what was it, after Civil War, he went off into, he was at in Wakanda for a minute, and he was like happy to not be part of all this stuff, and they kind of pulled him back in, gave him the arm and stuff going into Infinity War. But Sam is, you know, the one who had that same ideal as Steve, and I think that's why he decides, you know, that's who should be holding on to this shield and to take on that mantle, is the guy who, you know, Steve and Sam are connected because of that that idea of justice and what's right and what is, you know, what that symbol stands for. So I think that it is it surprised me, because I thought they were going to go with the obvious choice forever. I thought like, oh, Sebastian Stan, he's signed on for multiple movies. He's going to come back. He did the Winter Soldier thing. The obvious thing to happen is that he's going to be Captain America. When it didn't happen, like it caught me off guard, but I was like, yes, this actually makes sense.
Yeah.
Another moment, quick moment that was really hype for me was like when everyone's assembled and he Avengers assemble and they start running forth, and like Ant-Man pops up and turns giant and punches the freaking Leviathan ship and it comes down. I was like, yes. But also like the scene where they're just raining hell down, and like, you know, Thanos gets his ass beat by Scarlet Witch. Like she's literally handing his ass to him, and he's like, okay, like bring it down. Like, are you sure? What about our soldiers? Like, not just bring it down, just bring down the missiles. And it's just raining all hell on them. And then the guns stop and move up. And I'm sitting there like, what's going on? Like, I'm just like everyone else in the movie. I'm like, what's that? What's coming in? Is it a ship? Is someone coming from outer space? Is Silver Surfer coming? Is it Galactus? Is it Adam Warlock? What's going on? And I completely like didn't even think about Captain Marvel. And as soon as it hit me, I was like, yes! And she bodies that ship. Just goes right for it.
I love that part.
Like,
I love that part.
So excited to see like her come through, and I love that she comes through at this moment just to like whip ass, like come through, blow up the ship, go one-on-one to Thanos, take a headbutt like it's nothing, and it's like at that right moment. It was really cool to me because it goes along with her whole thing about like, they're like, well, where have you been? And she's like, this isn't the only planet that's been affected by this stuff. And she tells them earlier on in the movie, like, unfortunately, no one else has you guys. So I'm the one that has to deal with it. So she's off doing her thing. And that, to me, it just, and I mentioned this on our chat, but it speaks length about how much conflict there is outside of Earth. And that she deems it appropriate to come at like the 11th hour to come and do this. And they didn't hand over the victory to her. They appropriately handed it to Tony because it is his story from the beginning. So he gets that chance to close out his story. But damn if she didn't beat Thanos to fucking pulp, man. Like, that was,
yeah,
I like that. And then
she and Wanda handled him,
oh man,
to the max. It was great.
Wanda treated him like he was a rag doll. Like, the only commanded like basically kamikaze missiles down on them, like, is the only reason she didn't go forward. But like, I know she was super hype about the whole Wanda scene because you were like, hell yeah, both times we saw it, she was super hype about it. And then our niece, we were watching it, she was like, she leaned over, she was like, where's Captain Marvel? And I was like, just wait. And it was like 5 more minutes before she appeared. And she was upset at the end. She's like, why is she only in like 10 minutes? I'm like, because she was solving all the universe's other problems. She's the only one capable of doing it.
Also, that scene with the cinematic version of A-Force. That was really awesome.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, let's go over those characters again. Can we?
It was Rescue, Valkyrie, Scarlet Witch, Wasp, Okoye. I forgot. And the other ones.
I'm trying to think of everyone because there was a lot. There was all the women in that
Mantis.
scene. Yeah, Mantis, Gamora from 2014. Yeah, I think Nebula was popped up as well.
Valkyrie.
They said Valkyrie. Gosh, listen.
Sorry.
Basically, every woman popped into that scene. That was, yeah, it was. I don't think I told you, but there's like a Avengers book that from a few years back was A-Force, and it was just an all-female crew.
Which I think is a bitchin' concept. I loved it.
Yep.
No pun intended.
Bitchin'.
So that was really cool. It makes me want She-Hulk even more because she's one of my
Yeah.
heroines.
All that was freaking She-Hulk and Medusa, and it would have been even more glorious.
So, but here, my question: what do you guys think? Like, where do you think we go from here?
Space.
The final frontier.
Yeah.
I need to see Nova, and I need to see more interaction between Guardians and different alien species. That's what I want to see, like different races and stuff.
I have I think I said it because I've been like ranting and raving. Like when I'm driving home, I'll call Megan and be like, I think this is gonna, like, she cares. Like, I think this is gonna. Um, and then I'll tell her brother also, because he actually knows what I'm talking about. But like, so I'm pretty sure now her brother told me that I haven't seen this myself, but he said that the Russos confirmed that alternate realities were actually created, like alternate timelines. So returning the stones didn't actually close off the timelines. In the way I imagine it is there's now the main prime timeline, the one that our MCU takes place in, and then there's going to be two offshoots from each point that they visited. So from 2012, 2014, 20
The 70s.
whatever year it was that Ragnarok, and then the 70s. So 4 different points are going to have 2 branches, one where they take the stone and return it, and one where they take the stone and don't return it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's a Disney Plus What If show coming, number 1. I think that's going to deal with some of those alternate offshoots on the timeline directly, and it's going to be like, you know, when they took the Power Stone and Quill didn't get it, it's like, what if the Guardians of the Galaxy never formed? And also Thanos from that timeline is dead, so it's like dealing with that fact. And then stuff like in the 70s, what if the Cosmic Cube was gone after the 70s? Or, you know, what happens after Loki gets the scepter back in 2012? And then the popular idea, I think, is that point might lead into the Loki show on Disney Plus. But mostly they've introduced time travel. They've introduced alternate dimensions. Nothing is going to be the same. And that doesn't mean that they have to deal with this immediately, like in the next movie, like in Spider-Man. I'm not expecting for them to be like, Spider-Man, the only way to defeat Mysterio is by traveling back in time and taking away his fishbowl. And so I'm not expecting that, but like, I'm very highly expecting somewhere down the line in one of the higher concept films of Phase 4 for something, I don't know what, be it some huge cosmic entity like the Living Tribunal or something, or maybe just a Watcher, because they've already shown that the Watchers exist in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I think it was Guardians 2 that they showed that. Show up and basically tell the remaining team, whoever winds up being on the main Avengers team going forward, like, basically there's a reason why this was a 14 million to 1 chance, because it wasn't supposed to happen. And now you've done and goofed with the timeline, and there are going to be tons of consequences, blah, 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 yada, 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 Kang the Conqueror, good luck. And so I'm really thinking that has to be, they have to deal with a lot of those consequences. And I think it is going to bring forth, like, the most obvious choice being Kang the Conqueror, because he is a time traveling villain. But I also think that this could be a good way to introduce, without just shoehorning them in after 11 years of storytelling, 22 movies plus, and then all of the TV shows and stuff like that, the Fantastic Four and the mutants. I think a really interesting way that I was just thinking, like, the past couple days to introduce the Fantastic Four is by having them come out through like the 1970s. Because it's been a popular idea that they could have existed in the past, similar to like Hank Pym, and how he operated out of that time period and stuff. But like, what if Reed Richards was just a normal scientist back in the 70s, and after the cube gets taken, something experiments, they realize that there's some sort of chronal temporal anomaly. He starts researching it, and he finds out about the quantum realm decades before Pym finds out about the quantum realm, and Janet Van Dyne finds out about the quantum realm, and maybe he deals with the quantum realm and possibilities towards time travel, i.e. eventually just the way things work and things being easy, the negative zone probably, getting powers, and then showing up in the prime timeline as the Fantastic Four. I think that could be a really interesting backdoor to getting those characters introduced into the cinematic universe without just being like Yeah, we just didn't tell you.
Well, I hope that happens because we need the Fantastic Four.
Yeah, badly. A good Fantastic Four.
Do we need the Fantastic Four? Does the Marvel Cinematic Universe need the Fantastic Four, like to save them from stuff? Both.
I spoke with you guys earlier about people whining about how they're ending their journey with the Marvel movies because, oh, Cap's journey is over and Iron Man. I'm like, no. I mean, it only gets grander and bigger and epic, more epic. You have these two wild card elements that are just gonna blow up the movie universe with mutants and the Fantastic Four, and God willing, we get a reboot of the Inhumans and all these crazy concepts. People are not ready for that, and for them to just stick around to like 22 movies and be like, "Nope, I'm done, I'm out." I'm like, "No, it's just starting. Like, get ready because it's gonna get even crazier."
We're gonna be like Jess's age, and going to, like Avengers, the freaking 15.
The Reckoning.
Yeah, I was gonna say the Annihilation War or something like that.
Right.
The Avengers versus Annihilus and Galactus, and the Silver Surfer teaming up with Old Man Thor because Chris Hemsworth is still playing the character, but now he looks more like Jason Aaron's old King Thor version. Like, yeah, this is gonna be like Godzilla or James Bond. It's just gonna stand the test of time.
Yeah, they're not going to run out of material.
No, not anytime soon.
No.
Like, there's so many, like, because you can sit there and it's like, well, what next? Like, who do they fight next? They fought Thanos, but like Thanos, yeah, he's huge and he's a big, popularly used villain, but there's so many just characters that are enormous, like just not like physically speaking, like Galactus, even like characters that they're just concepts, basically. Like these ones who, like I mentioned, Lord Chaos, Lord Order, the Living Tribunal, Eternity, like characters like that they can have qualm with, and they're doing the Eternals movie. And they're doing an Eternals movie, which is just gonna further utilize like the Celestials and stuff like that. And the fact that like they're going to do a sequel for Captain Marvel, and she's the only character that's really shown us like how huge the threats out there in the universe can be. Because I mean, you can point towards the Guardians, but when you look at the Guardians, honestly, none of them are that same level of cosmic like powerhouse. And the things that they went and did were not like on the same level as some of the stuff that I believe that they can do through using Carol.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a backdoor for introducing characters like, like Nova Prime and stuff, Richard Rider, and more heroes that are just on another level than what we've seen. So it's, it's huge. And I think people are going to be really surprised by what's to come.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like phases 1, 2, 3 were very Earth focused. Now it's just going to expand to everywhere.
Yeah. Next, we're going to get the Beyonder in his like disco suit.
Plus, we're getting freaking Magneto, Doctor Doom, and so many other classic villains that can finally be well represented on screen. I think it's going to be crazy.
Yeah, they're probably going to have an alternate universe where the Skrulls are the bad guys. With a super Skrull that has all of the Fantastic Four's powers. They're going to have a Galactus, not a fart cloud.
Yeah, love it. Let's do it.
We can have the High Evolutionary, who could probably be a good backdoor for introducing like mutants. Like he could literally create the X gene in some universe, in some timeline, and have mutants flood into the Prime timeline. Like there's so many things. There's just so much stuff that can happen. They can have Doctor Strange meeting with other Sorcerer Supremes from throughout history. They can have, I would say the same for Iron Fist, but that's kind of up in the air. You know, so many things that they can do now. So many different things. Also, the fact that we've skipped ahead 5 years opens up a lot of avenues. Like, Peter Parker is still a teenager, but if we skipped ahead 5 years, you could have someone who was a kid before now be, you know, around his age, and we could have Miles in that universe as well. Though I think they'd want to save that and just have Miles keep doing his own animated stuff.
Oh my gosh, that'd be great.
They could have the actor that plays Miles in the animated movies cross over into the live action movies. Oh man, there's so many things, so many possibilities. You could have like all of the Lokis. You could have young Loki. You could have teenage Loki. You could have old Loki. You could have Lady Loki. You can have a frog Thor. You can have old Thor. You can they could do everything. They can have everything. They can have a gray Hulk, a blue Hulk, a red Hulk.
All right.
I just want Red Hulk so that we can have an omnibus of the Jeff Parker Red Hulk stuff. That's all that's important.
Right.
What do you guys think will be Adam Warlock's role in the future now that you know, he wasn't a part of the story, but I personally wanted him to show up, but you know, it didn't happen. What do you guys think?
I forgot to say this, but I think that they're gonna actually connect him to the Soul Stone and what's the planet, the Vormir, and the reason why they couldn't bring back Gamora or Black Widow is going to be because they're not dead; they're actually inside of the Soul Stone. I think he's going to have some part in that.
I think I told you guys when I first saw the movie last week, when Captain Marvel showed up, I had totally forgotten that she was in the plot of the movie. And I don't mind the character at all. I like the character. But I'm seeing this orange glow, and in my head, I completely forgot. So I'm like, is this... No, it's not Silver Surfer. Is this Adam Warlock? It's Adam Oh, it's Brie Larson. Okay. Fine. Cool. Like, don't get me wrong. I was happy, and it was awesome. But, you know, I built this bubble like it was going to be Adam Warlock because I'm a huge fan of the character. No, maybe later.
Well,
also, I think Rocket was probably my favorite character in that movie. He was hilarious to me.
Well, it's nice he stood up on his own without having Groot, because usually Rocket and Groot are, you know, with each other and kind of work off of each other.
Yep.
But I think I don't have anything else to say about the film. I mean, I probably do, but nothing off the top of my head.
It was, I think it might sound controversial what I'm going to say now. It maybe it's not like the 100% perfect film, because no movie is, but it serves as this wonderful event to everything that came before. You know, every movie has problems. We can nitpick about time issues and all the MacGuffins and all that stuff, because there were some things I didn't really like, but the good outweighs the minimum in this case. That it was just a real treat, and like, yeah, the movie was just pure geeky bliss. I loved it. It was a really fun experience to have.
Well, I'm going to correct you there, because the only movie that's 100% perfect is, of course, Napoleon Dynamite.
Gotcha.
I thought you were going to do an in-stock trades plug.
No, I will do that now. I'm happy to do that now. In-stock trades is the place to go where you want to get your collected editions up to 50% off. Loyalty discounts add 2% to that. And every quarter there's a I almost gave it a number because the number could change. Change that. Every quarter there's an Omnibros Live discount code. I have no idea what it's going to be, so don't ask me. Order $50 or more in the United States, you get free shipping. Fabulous service, fabulous packaging. That's InStockTrades.com. Ding 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 ding.
I'm just imagining people going like, "Oh, Jess said it was 3%."
Yeah, I have no idea what it's going to be. It could be anything. I have no idea.
It's actually 2.365% off.
Yeah. Yeah, I have no idea. And I don't even know when the code's coming. Although we're in May, so it's probably due. Very good, Nashvilleans. You named that theme. Very good.
Was it the Lone Ranger?
It was Bonanza.
Oh, Bonanza. I knew it was an old Western show, but I'm not.
I wouldn't expect you millennial spuds to know that show.
I know it because of my old man. I'll just say that.
Oh, okay. Well, good.
Yeah.
Any last thoughts before we sign off for the evening? We pretty much covered it. I knew we had the right guy on with Ryley to explore where the universe could go next.
Dude, I'm like Charlie Day in that Always Sunny, like connecting the Pepe Sylvia dots on my
You were shot out of a cannon, man.
The only time I was worse was when we watched the new Halloween movie and I was trying to connect, like, I don't even remember what happened, but it was so bad she got pissed off and was like, dude, stop it.
Okay, well, thank you to the chat for taking part in the in our little show. We appreciate it. The chat was great. Gio, where can they find you on the interwebs?
Well, y'all can find me at A Week in Geekdom here on YouTube, where I talk about anime, manga, movies, comics, and everything else in between. That's A Week in Geekdom.
And Ryley surprised everybody this week. He had a video. Where can you find that video, Ryley?
On my channel, which I believe is called Ryley Mo, RYLEYMO, or you can just look up the Omnibus Collector on YouTube and you'll find it. That is all in thanks to my wife here, who is my #1, I want to say supporter, but I would say #1, what would be the right word? She kicks me off my ass and makes me work. Coach, I guess, works also. Yeah, so she, we got a new camera, as I mentioned in that video, so she wanted me to take advantage of that and start making videos. So just kind of playing with that to get better quality. We're going to play with it in a little bit to see if we can't connect it for live streams as well, so I can have better video and audio quality for this. But yeah, thanks to her pushing, I am probably going to be doing videos on every other day off or something like that, I want to say. So stay tuned.
Right on, Mrs. Omnibus Collector. Way to go. And you can find me, Omnidog, at Omnidog's Vault on YouTube and Omnidogs_Vault on Instagram, where I actually posted something today on Instagram.
Oh,
and
nice.
I didn't need my wife to make me do it. I just thought maybe I'll do something for once. And I did it.
fine.
So, to all our lovely viewers out there, patronize IST, hit the like button, please subscribe, and as always, peace and love, peace and love.